Hi, I am Mimi Lichtenstein, and today on Adventures in Luxury Travel, my guest is Carlos Carrera. Carlos is here because I love the properties that he represents. He represents family-owned properties throughout Europe, and he has a lot of great insights into each of these properties that are all very unique and special. So I'm excited to have you here today, Carlos. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mimi, for having me.
Well, it's good to have somebody who has intimate knowledge of all of these beautiful places. And when you and I were talking about the possibilities for what we'd go over today, because we wouldn't have time to dive into each one of them, we narrowed it down to Spain and Portugal. So we thought, let's give it, we'll focus on those today, and perhaps another day we'll focus on some of the other ones.
Sure.
And let's look at, maybe you could actually tell us a little bit about how you got into the situation where you have your own company representing beautiful family-owned hotels throughout Europe. What inspired you to do that?
Well, Mimi, I've been an hotelier for 25 years of this summer, so I've been always, I'm third generation hotelier. My family's been in hotels all their life, right? And so I've been in properties as director of sales and marketing for many years, as Marbella Club, Puente Romano, Hotel Juan Carlos I in Barcelona. And then with my wife, she's Canadian, we decided to move to Vancouver, which is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And that's when I decided to open a hotel collection. And I was very lucky because Marbella Club, Puente Romano, and other like-minded family-owned properties, they follow us. And that's how everything started in 2012 with Querido, which is the finest family-owned hotels and resort collection within Europe.
Absolutely. Well, I know I love staying at family-owned places, and obviously there's a huge range of those. Not every, family-owned property has the actual family there every single day to greet you, but some of them do, and it's always so fun to listen to their stories of what inspired them to start their hotels. Just the other day, I was at a conference for Italy, listening to actually quite a few expats who had gone to Italy to visit, and they fell in love, and they decided to stay there and find a property, turn it into a hotel, and years later, that's now their life. So
Right.
It seems like there's a lot of people living the dream of running beautiful hotels and beautiful places.
That's not uncommon, and for us, that's the most important thing. Obviously, the love for the property, but also the love for the destination, the culture, and the tradition. And in fact, even our properties, some of them are very different from each other because we have city properties in Amsterdam, in Florence, in Rome, opening this summer in Lisbon. And then we have the seaside resort, we have countryside resorts. So, but there is a silver lining among all of a red line that connects all of them, and is that love of this family for the destination, for the culture, for the tradition, but also for their teams, no? And that really makes a difference for the guest stay, no? We can say that all our hotels have a vibe and a soul behind it that you can immediately experience as you check in.
Yeah. So I agree. And I love staying at family-owned places. And so I'm happy that that's our topic today. So zeroing in on Spain and Portugal gives you a little bit of insight into, we're going to talk about 5 properties, 2 in Portugal. One is obviously closer to the sea, and then one is inland. And then down here in Marbella, you have 2 pretty much down the beach from each other, right?
Correct.
And then one up here, which is the Shaw Wellness Clinic, which is very different, I think, than probably all of your other properties in your portfolio, right? It's a pretty unique place.
Well, I would say that it's also very different than any other clinic or wellness or boot camp, but we will dip into it when it's their turn, no? But I think you would like to start with Portugal. So Portugal, we have 2 properties. We have Sublime Comporta, which is right by the beach. Comporta is considered the Hamptons of Lisbon. It's all where the wealthy families have their summer residence. And through the years also it's been a place to host international stars and designers. So it's kind of a bohemian chic vibe by the beach. Comporta is, what I love with Comporta is that You have 60 kilometers of wild, unobstructed coast with some beautiful, very beautiful beach and dunes, and all the private estates. And our property, our hotel, is located on the other side of the dune. So there you don't find any construction in these 60 kilometers of beach, except 6 beach clubs. So very spread one from each other, and one of them is Sublime Beach Club that opened last summer and is already being extremely popular. You can see over there in that slide down there.
Yeah.
The Sublime Beach Club. So the concept of Comporta is really a place to enjoy the seaside, but also a lot of activities around, as mountain biking. There is a lot of sailing opportunities, horseback riding in the dunes, and a lot of very cool parties as well in the little towns of Carvajal and Comporta, little restaurants. So it has it all, and the fact that it's only 1 hour drive from Lisbon, it makes the perfect ending. Actually, we are starting with it, but normally my trips in Portugal, I love to spend 3 nights in Lisbon, enjoying the culture, enjoying the museums, the gastronomy. And we have very, very breaking news, because Sublime will be opening in June in Lisbon with a 16-room hotel. It's going to be called Sublime Lisbon. So now we have the perfect 3 stops in a country. We have the city with Sublime Lisbon. Then we have the countryside with Barrocal, which is in the Alentejo, and then we have the seaside property in Comporta. That's a perfect triangle. So I suggest always to do city first, then Barrocal in the middle, and Comporta at the end.
At the end, okay, that's a good tip. Well, and when you look at the beaches, what I love, I took my kids to the beach in Portugal a couple of years ago when we were in Spain, and I love it because it's not crowded, and they're big and vast and, somewhat wild looking. It's not just plain white sand. Like, you have obviously some topography and some of the grasses,
Right.
And it's just a really beautiful, setting for a beach, I think.
Yeah, the coastline is spectacular. As you will say, you have cliffs, you have sand dunes, so it's not just a flat, boring beach with just beach chairs and restaurants on the back. You rarely, as I say, there are 60 kilometers of beach, and you only have 6 beach clubs. You can see in this photo, that's the beach club, but 10 kilometers north or 10 kilometers south, there is nothing else, right? So it's very remote, it's very wild, and that's the beauty of it, no? And then the Atlantic has beautiful waves. It's a bit chillier than the Mediterranean, but it's very refreshing. We were there in March 2019, the last time there with my kids, and we were all swimming. We are brave swimmers, but we were all swimming in the cold waters. And in summer, it's very pleasant because it gets really warm and hot, so you really want to have that fresh water. But as I mentioned, Portugal is also a phenomenal destination for surf lovers. There are any kind of surf levels will find their perfect wave.
And remind me, so from the hotel to the beach club is a distance, how far is that?
It's a 10 minutes shuttle. You can also bike. We have bikes on property, so you can bike there, but the shuttle is very convenient. So, and the property itself is very unique because it's made of, we have 20 rooms and suite, but the majority are cabanas. And this is a 2-bedroom cabana with a private pool. We have 2, 3, 4, and 5-bedroom cabanas with private pool. Idea for small families, group of friends, and also one of our latest product that we just last year is the Vio Pool Suite that is overlooking a natural pool, natural lake, but it's totally clean up with organic products, so it's perfect for swimming. And you can jump from the deck of your suite directly into this sharing pool for all the suites. So very interesting. Then there are 2 restaurants on property. One of them is the Fire Circle, where 12 people sit around a beautiful the food circle where there is a fire in the middle and everything is cooked right on the charcoal on the fire flame, and you can imagine with those wonderful Portuguese wines, and the food is really excellent, no?
Yeah, absolutely. And so this is, I think it was 12 people, right? It's sort of like
Correct.
a private dinner, and it's in the middle of the garden at nighttime, watching the chef prepare the dinner. Yeah, it would be a beautiful place to host.
Yeah.
And this is obviously a stunning, pool hangout area as well.
So yes, you can see it's very. You are surrounded by pine woods all over, and it's very sandy and very pleasant. So, and this is just as I mentioned, 10 minutes from the water. There are no properties or private estates on the water, so everything is on the back on this beautiful pine woods. So it's very relaxing and chilling. So really, really, and has been incredibly hot as a destination, no, for the past 3 summers, no, for all the European elite trying to get away from the massive summer destination. Comporta has been kind of the discovery.
And just out of curiosity, so I know Americans are very into going to Portugal lately, and Croatia too. Would you say the clientele here, like what is the split of Europeans, Americans, or other countries?
I would say that we have approximately 25-30% US travelers, and will be a 50% Europeans, and then the rest mix up with international travelers. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, well, it has, obviously, Portugal is European, and it has a very European feel when you're there. So I think that, it's just a fun destination. And I love the style and the design of the hotel, too, because it is very sort of minimalist, but yet you still feel that sort of Portugal feel. You still feel the textiles and the colors just makes it have a very natural vibe.
Right. It has a great sense of place, not only within Portugal but within the region of Comporta, no, because they are replicating the rice storage houses, which are very typical from the area of Comporta, and so you really have a big sense of place, no. And Portugal, I'm being from Spain. It always been kind of our neighbor that you don't really care so much, but when I started to discover it, and it was recently, it was only 5 years ago when Barrocal approached us, and we create this wonderful partnership with Jose Antonio and his team, that I really have make a big dip into Portugal, and I'm fascinated by not only the tradition and the culture, but the food and the wines and the people. No, sometimes I'm a Spaniard. I wonder. I wish that we will have more entrepreneurs and more hoteliers like we have in Portugal right now. No, and in the sense of family owned, in the sense of people that want to really showcase their country. And Portugal is doing an extraordinary job with properties like Sublime, with Barrocal, but there is so many others out there that are doing a really great job. And in terms of value for money, is the best destination in all Europe, right? These hotels are in the categories of our other virtuoso properties in France, in Italy, in Spain, but because the cost of living and the price in Portugal is much lower, the guests will have the very, very same experience than going to Italy for a fraction of the price, right? So.
That's a good point. Yeah, it is. Portugal and Spain in general are lower than the rest of Europe as far as, a comparable property, for sure.
Italy and France will be up there. Spain a little bit lower, but Portugal is even more affordable than Spain, no? Especially talking about high-end luxury properties, virtuoso properties. Room entry level in our properties in Portugal are going to start at 475, 500 euros. In Spain, going to be 850 euros a night. In France and Italy, it's going to be 1,200, right? So you can see, and you are going to get very similar experiences. So this is great for people that are already been in Italy and France a few times. They're looking for something different, something more rustic, less visited. Portugal is a perfect solution.
It's a good choice. And so we touched a little bit on, horseback riding on the beach. You can go to Comporta and just go walk around and shop at beautiful boutiques. You can go fishing, you can go swimming, you can go surfing. What about mountain biking? Is there mountain biking in this area?
Well, it's kind of flat, so it's not so exciting. Obviously, there are nice trails that you can visit, but for the mountain biker that is looking for downhill or more technical, it's not the is not the most attractive area. But definitely there are mountain bikes on property. If anyone wants to ride them around, they are very welcome to do so.
Yeah. And I've had clients take bike trips through Alentejo and other areas of Portugal before. Like the north and the south both have beautiful biking with lots of great hill climbs if people want it.
Yeah, absolutely. For like biking more in kind of the touring and that's a phenomenal area, no? Because you have, especially the Alentejo, and Comporta is part of the Alentejo, no? So Alentejo is 2/3 of Portugal, so it's one of the largest region, but it's the least inhabited. So it's very, very peaceful. There are no big cities. There are only small towns, but medieval, beautiful small towns. So Alentejo is ideal for a road bike trip.
Yeah. And I love that you can combine adventure and active things with the culture and the history and, obviously delicious wine and food. So I feel like every place that I bring on here, it's always a good combination of those things, or I probably wouldn't invite the person on. So,
right.
All right. Should we transition to your other property in Portugal?
Sure. So Barrocal, São Lourenço, actually it's called São Lourenço Barrocal, is a private estate with more than 2,500 acres. Is 255 years old. Sorry, 250 years old. This is their anniversary. In fact, it's been in the same family during the 250 years. Jose Antonio the owner is their 7th generation, and he took a very old working farm and converted it into one of the first luxury countryside properties in Portugal. No, it's a working farm. They produce their own wine. There are 50 type of accommodation in total with rooms, suites, and casas, with 1, 2, and 3 bedroom casas. And the estate is stunning. Yeah, there are wild bulls within the property. There are horses. There are donkeys. As I mentioned, they produce their own wine. They have a phenomenal, very, very powerful red, but they also have a very nice light white wine and a very nice rosé. The place is all about, Barrocal is all about tradition. It's about making the guests having an authentic countryside experience in Portugal, learning about the food, learning about the culture, and the culture here goes up to 60,000 years, Neolithic. We have a real Neolithical piece, menhir, from the 60,000, that's called a barrocal. Menhir are called barrocal, and the property is called barrocal because we have one of the first indication of human settlings in the planet Earth. This menhir was placed there by foragers that decided that it was time to settle down and stop moving around with the seasons. So you can visit the barrocals while you are on property. In fact, we have an archaeologist from the Lisbon University that do tours with our guests. And also one of my favorite activities to do on property is star watching. There is no light pollution. In fact, one of the biggest observatory in all the European countries is located just 10 minutes away from Barrocal. It can be visited, but also we make the astronomer come to the property with our clients, and we have done. I have done it personally, and it's fascinating. So imagine have a beautiful dinner until 11, and then at midnight, these astrologists come and you look at every single star. They bring the equipment. You are having a nice hot chocolate with a little bit of alcohol or not. That's up to you. And you spend 2-3 hours there. We were a group of 6 people, and I think we were there until 3 a.m. It was just magical.
Wow!
Because it's one of the best locations in all Europe to watch the sky. And then mountain biking is great in this area. There are many little towns like Montserrat. It's just 10 minutes away, and you have a beautiful medieval town. There are Évora just 30 minutes away, which is also a phenomenal town with a lot of culture, museums, restaurants. And on property, they can organize private picnics for you and your family, scavenger hunts, horseback riding, donkey rides for the kids. I mean, the number of activities are endless, endless.
And this is a very good property for families. Whether
Absolutely,
young kids,
absolutely.
older kids, yeah, there's so much to do, and it's very, very family friendly. And
Very family friendly. But
yeah,
also we have a lot of couples that go there. They want to have an immersion in the countryside. We have two areas. We have a family area in the pool, and then also we have a pool just for couples. So we separate them because obviously they have different needs.
mhm.
And but very friendly, incredibly down to earth, and I think this is what both Sublime and Barrocal are leading. What is, I think, luxury in these days, no, which is lot of space, contact with nature, phenomenal food, and an immersion in the traditions and culture of the destination without having to leave the property. I think that what makes these properties and our properties in general special. It's not, you are not just paying for a room and for a luxury service, no. You are staying there and you are learning about the culture of the destination. You grow your passion about what's going on, no. And talk about sustainability. Our properties employ 95% of locals. They help them to raise their standards of living. They give back to community. So our properties are very, very connected to the local communities, and we are very, very proud of that.
Mm-hmm. I think that, for, again, many family owned properties, like they are a part of the community. The owners, built there for a reason or took over a hotel for a reason, and they're good neighbors and good citizens, and they're interested in investing in the community and hiring people from the community and serving produce and fish and meats from the community. And so I think that's really, a way for them to run their hotel, but also sort of be a steward of their community.
Exactly. And also, it's giving exposure to all these employees and their families, also to an international audience and different ideas. So it's a win-win for everyone.
And so is this picture a picture of the adult pool?
Correct. This is the adult pool at Barrocal, which is, it has a Barrocal on it, a real stone on the pool, and those are some of the original Neolithical stones, no? But yeah, as I mentioned, the archaeological wealth of this property is incredible.
Yeah, well, it looks stunning. And this is just an example, I think, of one of the rooms from the inside, which again, like, it's beautiful. It's, elegant, minimalist, and very natural.
We want the guests to have a real farmhouse experience, right? So you are not going to find gold, you are not going to find marble, you are going to find the real materials with the adobe, with the woods, with the linens, the local linens, but everything up to the maximum level. No, anybody can stay in this property, from a CEO to a president of a state or anybody, no? Or somebody that just want to get in contact with nature and wake up in the morning with the birds singing.
And as far as an over-the-top experience, I do believe that you can have a hot air balloon come and pick you up from the property, right?
Yes, because the little winds and the expansive flats and the countryside that are more rolling hills than mountains, right? It is a phenomenal place to do hot air ballooning, and in fact, we can provide that very easily.
And what are your thoughts before we transition to Spain? What are your thoughts about best times of year to come? Obviously, the summertime is popular for lots of reasons, and that gives you great beach weather. In addition to that time, what are other favorite times that you have there?
Well, these both properties are open all year round because they are perfect for European breaks during the winter. No, people that go just for 3-4 nights from London, Paris, Frankfurt, all over Europe, right? But I think for the US traveler, the best time of the year will be spring or fall. Try to avoid July and August because it's hotter, it's crowded, and the rates also are more expensive. So shoulder season, I find it magical. May, June, September, October are perfect months to visit Europe, and especially this Portugal. Yeah.
Okay, good tip. And I think we all know that entire the entire continent of Europe goes on vacation in August. And when they go on vacation, they tend to go obviously south to all of these beautiful beach towns. So if you want to avoid all of that, then go with
it doesn't get crowded in Comporta because there is no massive tourism, there is no construction, and it's protected by the Portuguese government, the coastline. So you can see definitely more action in July and August, but it won't be like what you expect from a European beach in July and August. Those photos that you see everybody on top of each other, that will never happen even in summer, right? So, but in terms of weather and in terms of the light, I think September is just perfect. September is just ideal.
Okay, good to know. All right. Well, so first we're going to start with the the spa, Shaw Wellness Clinic. It's definitely more than a spa. I think I've done a show, I think last fall, on different destination spas, mostly within the U.S. And even within that, Shaw is very unique and different. So can you tell us a little bit about what it's like?
Well, Shaw Wellness Clinic, his physical location is in the east of Spain, near Valencia and Alicante. So it's merely an hour flight from Madrid, very easy to get there. But in terms of vision, Shaw is located 25 years in the future. And this is not just said by me, this is said by very, very important guests that are very, very well known in the field of longevity, in the field of preventive medicine, because the whole concept about SHA is about preparing yourself for what is coming. No, it's not about just losing weight, even though you can do a weight loss program. It's not about just detoxing, even though there is a detox program. It's about learning. It's about knowing what is good for you, what is best for your particular body type, for your particular anatomy, and to include that as a routine in your life and prepare yourself for because it's not about living 100 years, right? It's about arriving to 99 in a very good shape, right? And enjoying life. So that's the concept about life. It's preventive medicine. And I say 25 years in the future because we are going to see a shift in medicine in the next 25 years that is going to be more towards preventive medicine than more reactive medicine that we're seeing right now. So if in the US, when you go to a wellness destination, it's more about boot camp, eating very little, working out a lot. And in Europe, it's all more clinical, about going to a clinic and doctors and blood tests. And in Asia, it's more spiritual. No, it's more about meditation or, SHA is a 360 approach to all these methods. So you have, of course, detox, you have weight loss, you have genetical doctors, you have your longevity doctor, you have acupuncture, you have meditators. We even have one of the only 3 helmets that are in the world. One is in NASA, one is in Harvard, and one is a SHA. And it's a treatment that send light through the skull to the neurons to reactivate them. And, this is fascinating. It's NASA science, but Harvard and SHA also have been introducing them. So just to give you a glimpse of the amount of different approach and treatments, and they are all going to be tailor-made. Most of our guests stay there for a week and do detox and weight loss program, but when they start to dig, they realize that they are not just going there for detox and weight loss, that there is something else that may not be working in their life and is related to another thing that they haven't been putting attention. That's why even we have 90 treatment rooms We have 90 rooms, so there is a treatment room for each guest at any particular moment. We have 150 technicians, meaning doctors, health workers, massages, physiotherapists on property. Is fascinating. And then we have a beautiful, stunning resort with 360 view of nature, of the mountain, of the seaside, with one of the best weather, if not the best weather in all continental Europe, with only 32 days of rain per year, right? So Sha is a fascinating destination where you go not only to detox or weight loss, but to learn about what is going well, what is you should change in your life, and it's about learning. And I found the treatments are fascinating, or even the consultation with the doctor, with the genetical doctor, with the longevity doctor, even more fascinating than the treatments. No,
Yeah.
and another very important part of the SHA concept is the nutrition. Nutrition that is aimed to cure yourself from any ailment and to prepare yourself for a very good aging, no, and longevity, no. And is the food also is delicious. You cannot believe that there is no fat, there is no sugar, that there is no meat, that there is no grains. Is that all those are not part of the SHA concept, no. But the food is incredibly yummy, tasty, fun, and
I think a lot of us would eat healthier if somebody was making us delicious, healthy food every day. So,
right. I've been in SHA 3 times personally. I cannot wait to go for the 4th time, and I've been changing like 1 or 2 habits every time I change, and honestly, my lifestyle is very different than it was without any huge effort. It's more about understanding. It's not about willpower. It's about understanding what is good for you and what you have to change it, right? So
yeah,
it's a lot of education in SHA. And we are opening in summer 2022. We are opening in 45 minutes north of Cancun, so we are getting closer for your clients. So we will be very close.
Well, we are very excited about that. I have that on my map as one of our soon-to-be opening hotels, so I'll definitely put that on my list to check out when it's there.
Right.
And I think too, here you have this gorgeous spa. As you said, I don't know of any other spa that has 90 treatment rooms and 90 guest rooms. That's obviously like a very high ratio. But then you have the stunning views and like, look at this gorgeous sunset. So you are pampering yourself, mind, body, and spirit for the whole week in many different ways.
Right. And also, it's not just people that want to lose weight. We have many type A's. We have Victoria's Secret model. We have actor and actress. We have soccer players from Real Madrid going there. So it's people that are already performing on their very, very best, but they need even to fine tune even higher. Well, they do that with all the different technologies and all the different doctors and techniques that SHA can bring to their lives.
Well, Carlos, had I known you when I was living in Madrid, I would have seen if you could tell me if Ronaldo or Marcelo were going to be there, and I would have booked a room.
Well, I can tell you that one of those two that you mentioned, I'm not going to tell you who, but one of those stayed there recently.
Very nice.
You can look into their Instagram. They were posting from there. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
I prefer not to disclose any names.
Totally understand. And so I don't know if you know this information either, but I have down the over-the-top room to stay in is the presidential suite. So if you're a Real Madrid soccer player or somebody who wants to sort of blow the budget, is that the recommended place to stay?
Well, the presidential suite is really stunning. You have the most amazing views of the Mediterranean, and you are on top of properties with views of the mountain as well. So, yes, anybody that is willing to spend, that's the place to be.
And as far as sort of going off property, I think when I was looking at some of my notes from before, maybe one of your activities that you enjoy doing off property is walking to the lighthouse around sunset.
Well, yeah, there are many hikes. There are many mountain biking routes to do around. We have a beautiful mountain. You can see here in the slide right on the side. And so there are multiple trails that are very good for both hiking and mountain biking. So yes, there is a couple of little towns, but you know, when you are so much immersed in taking care of yourself, I tend not to leave the property because it's just such a peaceful place, and it's a busy agenda as well. You are keep in mind that you are doing an average of 4 treatments per day and another 3 to 4 consultations. So there you go, 8 hours, right? And then you wanna have a nice early breakfast and meditation. You can go to the gym, the wet area at the pool that you can visit at any time with saunas, with a Turkish bath, with all different baths with cold water. Is just a feature on itself, and we didn't even mention that. So it's you can venture out, and there are things to do, absolutely. But in my experience, that the place is so dreamy, and you are so immersed in taking care of yourself that you don't want to go anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, it sounds lovely. So I think a lot of us at this time in our lives could use some of that. All right, let's look. Should we go further south to Marbella? So we have 2 properties in Marbella, one of which is Puente Romano. So let's start there, where I had a client who was supposed to be staying there last summer, but hopefully that will happen again. Tell us a little bit about what you love about Puente Romano, and maybe even give us a little bit of insight into Marbella as the beach town in the south of Spain.
Right. So Marbella, we can say Marbella is kind of the Riviera, no, the luxury Spanish Riviera. You fly into Malaga, into AGP, and then 35 minutes drive, you are into Marbella. Marbella is in Costa del Sol. Costa del Sol have different resorts like Torremolinos and Fongirola, which are more 3-star, more 4-star. But Marbella is kind of the high-end destination. You have 65 golf courses. There is Puerto Banús with the largest yachts in all the Mediterranean, helicopters, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Prada, Brioni, Hermes, you name it, right? Then Marbella also have a beautiful old town, very Andalusian, very whitewashed. No Prada, no Brioni, just all tailor-made little shops, little tapas places. So Marbella Club and Puente Romano are both between Marbella Old Town and Puerto Banús, so in the best of both worlds. There is a beautiful seaside promenade. You can walk to both sides, 20 minutes on each side, and both properties are on the water. Also, Marbella is the perfect base to discover the south of Spain. You can do the trips to Sevilla, Granada, Cordoba, Ronda, Gibraltar, Tangier. You can go to Morocco and come back on the day with a fast ferry, sailing. Golf course is the Scottsdale of Europe. There are 65 golf courses, as I mentioned. Valderrama, where Ryder Cup was in 1997, is 20 minutes away from the property. We have our own private golf course just for our guests of Puente Romano Marbella Club up on the hills, Marbella Club Golf Resort. With when your clients book with you, Mimi, they get as a virtuoso amenity golf round per person per stay included, and it's 150 euros value per person per stay. So very, very nice golf course overlooking the Strait of Gibraltar, so you can see Morocco, you can see Gibraltar, UK, and you can see Spain. So you can see 3 countries and 2 continents meanwhile you are playing golf, which is quite spectacular.
And I actually did the trip to Morocco, the day trip to Morocco, the first time I was down in Marbella with my kids years ago. And it's absolutely doable. And I think what's so fun is that it's just obviously such a different culture.
Right.
So to leave this very luxy, beach enclave and go to Tangier for the day is quite a different contrast.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, Tangier is, if you go for the day, you have your guide, you visit the Casbah, it's fascinating, the food is great. Obviously, it's not as picturesque as Marrakesh. It's a bit more raw because it's not as touristy, but still you can have a very good glimpse of it's super safe, and the Moroccan people are really, really welcoming. Sometimes over welcoming, but that's why you bring a guy, so then they don't lure you in every single carpet shop in the Casbah, right?
100%.
But it's fascinating, and for the more adventurous one, it's absolutely a must. My favorite day trips are Granada, so you visit the Alhambra, one of the wonders of it's only an hour and a half drive from the door of the hotel to the door of the Alhambra, and our concierge can and Mimi can organize. You can organize all the tickets and everything very easily. A private guy is absolutely recommended to visit the Alhambra, so you really understand how this castle was constructed from the year 800 until the year 1492, when the Queen Isabel spell out the Arabs, no, from Spain, no, after winning the last battle in Granada. So very fascinating story. It is a must to visit.
Yeah, and I believe the room that they sent Christopher Columbus off on his voyage is within the Alhambra, right?
What's that?
That Queen Isabella and Fernando sent Columbus off to obviously eventually discover America at that time. I have pictures of my kids in that particular room, like sketching it out. It's a beautiful room. And what's fun about Granada is you're still in Spain, but you have such a big Moorish influence, Arabic influence. Like you really feel the difference in that town versus many of the other Andalusian towns in the south.
Right. Well, the whole Andalusia is very Moorish in terms of architecture. You can find a lot of reminiscence. If you go to Cordoba, you have a mosque, you have a Jewish temple, and you have a cathedral, all in the same building. And they were living peacefully, actually. They were all the three different communities were living peacefully before the Isabella Catholic spell but here we are going kind of in a story lesson, but fascinating no matter what. And then my favorite second one-day trip, because you can even do half a day, is just 1 hour drive from Marbella, is Ronda, where you can visit one of there's a beautiful gorge with the Parador. There is the bull ring, the oldest bull ring in all in Spain from 1890. It's made in stone. So really, there is a lot of history. There is a lot of culture. The food in Andalusia is stunning and very easy to drive around, and people extremely welcoming. No,
and lots of good adventure. Lots of I think they say like the most dangerous walk in the world, El Caminito del Rey, or
Caminito del Rey from it's only 40 minutes from the hotel. It's in beautiful gorges near Malaga, and you can absolutely visit and do that. And then, but mostly people go to Marbella just to relax and enjoy family time, and then do day trips. They do 2 or 3 day trips. Most of our guests, even from the States, are coming for a week. We have a great villa product both at Marbella Club and Puente Romano. So the people love to have their private villa within the property, right? So you have the privacy, your pool, but then you have the housekeeping, the service of the hotel, and all the restaurants. No, we have 2 properties in Marbella. We have Marbella Club and Puente Romano. They both belong to the same family, the Chamoun family, and very dedicated family that has been doing a lot of good things for Marbella from his father. Now they are second generation, Daniel and Jenica. They are doing very, very nice things for both properties, investing back in the properties a real lot. And the Marbella Club is the original first luxury hotel in Marbella, constructed in 1954 by Prince Alfonso Henlohe. He was an Austrian prince that fell in love with the property. And Puente Romano, it was also part of its vision, but it was done in 1976. So Marbella Club is more boutique, more elegant, timeless. Puente Romano is more like an Andalusian village. So the Marbella Club is very high-end, but very Andalusian and very down to earth at the same time. No, but his history of having all movie stars and royal families from all over Europe, and it has remained that very upscale and simple elegance at the same time, right? But it's not snobby at all. It's very, very welcoming, and people is really charming. We have many of all of our staff, their parents or their grandparents have been working on property. We have some of the maitre d's have been with us for more than 40 or 50 years.
Wow.
A few of them retired in the past 5 years, but they've been 50 years with us, and now their kids and their grandkids are working. So there is a big sense of community. Being part of the Marbella Club is kind of give you a special status in Marbella. But again, it's not in a snobby way. It's more in a times of tradition and love for what you do. We have 135 rooms, suites, and villas with 2, 3, and 5 bedrooms. Nothing higher than the trees. So everything is secluded within the gardens. And you find all white, washed, beautiful little buildings, bougainvilleas all over, and a stunning beach club. Open all year round. Marbella is an all year round destination. The hotels have been doing incredibly well, even this winter, because we were the only one. Marbella Club was the only one open during winter in all Marbella. So we have many Europeans coming to spend 3, 4, and 5 weeks in the villas. So the winter has been really, really good for us. And now the summer is picking up incredibly well as well. So hopefully we can also have US travelers.
Excellent.
But
we can't wait to come back. I can tell you that much, Carlos.
Right. We know that. So Marbella Club, that's kind of the vibe. And Puente Romano is larger. It has 250 rooms. It's more constructed like a village. But again, the concept of Prince Alfonso is nothing higher than the trees. We have also villas, but most are rooms and suites. There are 10 restaurants on property, including Nobu, and a Nobu hotel with 50 rooms within the grounds of the hotel. 2 wonderful beach clubs, 1 more casual, 1 more upscale, and seawater, heated pool, open all year round, like was a Marbella Club. And one of the features Puente Romano you are showing is our stunning tennis club with 8 clay courts. The main court hosts up to 3,000 people. We have host concerts with Gloria Gaynor, Ray Charles, Frank Sinatra Jr., Bee Gees, up to 5,000 people in the main courts. We have host also semifinals of Davis Cup with the Spanish team. And every winter we have at least 3 or 4 top 10 pro tennis players. We have Djokovic, we have had Nadal, we have had many of the Spanish ones. So the facilities for tennis are really stunning. And we also have the golf course, as I mentioned before, that is for the use of the guests of Marbella Club of Puente Romano.
Well, let me bring up too. I've not been there, but I hear that you guys have sort of the best beach club bar on the beach. Is that true?
Well, the Chiringuito is very popular, which is kind of like Chiringuito is a beach hut, but it's a more elevated beach hut. So we can do parties there. But right now you are showing that's called La Plaza Romana, the main square, where we have 7 restaurants, including Nobu, and there is a nightclub also that open until 4 a.m. So yeah, the Puente Romano is not only a great place for the people to stay, but it's also the hub for many locals to go out at night. The beauty is that we only have the Nobu rooms around there, so it's most the younger clientele that stay at the Nobu hotel because they are the ones partying until 4 a.m. And when I say young at heart. I'm not giving any age range. And most of the people, all our guests stay on the gardens, which are more secluded and calm, no families. That's where the rooms, suites, and villas are.
Okay. Yes. You only want to be staying next to the 4 a.m. nightclub if you're at the 4 a.m. nightclub, for sure.
Exactly. And both properties are beachfront. You don't have to, you walk through the gardens on the property. And both properties also have beachfront sea view rooms and beachfront sea view villas as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, beautiful views. Obviously, to sit out here and enjoy lunch one afternoon looks like it would be a perfect way to spend your Spanish day, for sure.
Exactly. Lot of lunches, lot of wine, and lot of time on the sun, and then going out very late for dinner. Keep in mind that if you go at 8:30, probably you're going to be the only one on the restaurant. Dining in Spain especially Marbella, start 10:30 in summer season, and people go out until very, very late. nights. No,
And I will say that was hard for me to get used to because I'm not a 10 p.m. eater. But just so you know, I actually made paella the other day and I had some leftovers. So I had it for lunch today. So I'm a lover of all things Spanish food. Tortilla for breakfast, paella for lunch. One thing I learned, which I did not know as an American before I lived in Spain, was that Spaniards don't eat paella for dinner. It's really just a lunch.
Rice. You don't eat much carbs for dinner. You let them at lunch, and dinner is normally it could be just a few sharing dishes. No, that is not doesn't have to be massive. No, also the fact that you are eating so late, 10:30. Right. So it's more about liquid dinner. No, it's gonna be more ingested in a glass wine. Probably.
Yes. Well, I actually make a very good sangria as well, but I became addicted to a very cold Mao in a frosty glass with some Spanish potato chips. And for me, that was dinner.
It's the little things, right?
Yeah. One thing I want to bring up before we finish, and that is we did not touch on outside of Ronda, I believe there's a racetrack where you can go and drive some fancy fast cars. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. There is, it's called Ascari, and it could qualify for a Formula One racetrack, but it's a private racetrack for a Belgian entrepreneur. And he opened sometimes for car launches. We have had Porsche, Lamborghini, Ferrari's car launcher at the hotels, and we have used the racetrack as a driving test for the journalists. And because we have such a great relationship with them, we also have packages for our guests, and we can organize that for the guests staying, so they can race F2, Formula 2 cars. They can do sport cars. There's such an amazing array of sport cars that for the sport cars lover is one of the most fascinating experience they can have.
So here's a question for you. As the mother of a 19, 17, and 15-year-old, how old do you have to be to go drive one of these cars?
Well, in Spain, the driver license starts from 18 years old. So if he has an international driving license and he's older than 18, he will be allowed to, and he paid an important insurance clause, he will be allowed to drive.
Okay, that sounds fair. All right. Well, Carlos, thank you so much. It was lovely to sort of look through each of these places and the beautiful photos and hear your stories and the amazing things that we could do when we're there visiting. And I know that all of us Americans are eager to get back to Europe again. Let's hope that all things go well and we'll be back there maybe a little this summer and into fall, and maybe hopefully everything will be almost back to normal for 2022 also.
Exactly. For those who are expecting a little bit and they don't wanna kind of risk booking July and August, book for September, October. Those are phenomenal months. The hotels are going to be open. We are open. Most hotels now, the ones that are not open are opening during the month of May. So all of them are open doors, very ready. All of them opened last year. During summer season, they have a pretty decent season with the European market, but obviously we love our US travelers to come and visit, to give it a nice combination of different nationalities. And the hotels obviously are following all the procedures and are incredibly safe, safer than my own home. I always say, if I wish I have somebody cleaning in the morning and in the evening, like they do at the hotels at my home.
Me both.
So absolutely, it's the time to travel to Europe very, very soon. And I understand people is waiting for the European ban to believe. We are very optimistic. We think that by June we are going to have great news about that. So for those who wanna travel in July and August and book something in the States or the Caribbean, but then come in September, October. And that's going to be the best time of the year.
We'll be ready. I can promise you that.
Thank you, Mimi.
All right. Thank you, Carlos. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.